Hey, what's up, you guys? Alright, I'm going to do a follow-up on what video I just did earlier today about, this is the 15th of August. I did a video review of my camera setup here on my truck, because I get asked that question a lot. What cameras am I using? I need to get something like that or whatever. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's kind of a long video, 51 minutes I believe it was. Pretty in-depth though on what cameras I'm using, some of the pros and cons of each, how I have them mounted and all that kind of stuff. So pretty good review on all of the cameras that are on there. So now I'm gonna do another video on this process with how I do my vlogging, and let me get this turned off so it doesn't become a distraction. That would be my other tablet. Okay, so I'm going to do the video production process for you now. First, I've already got some of the files transferred over from my Garmin, which, speaking of, where is it? Oh, it's sitting right over here, I think, right? Okay. It's one of the nice things about my Garmin 45 that I talked about in that video. I can just pull it right off the windshield. It's just a magnetic mount there. There's the mount like an actual mount that sticks to my windshield. It's there permanently. Just scrape it off when I need to change the windshield or something. But yeah, just magnetically mounts right up to that octagon thing that's on my windshield, and that's it. So I just pull the SD card out of here. I've already retrieved the data off of this one. I've also already retrieved the data off my phone. For the map view stuff or whatever, satellite view stuff that you see in my videos. Now I'm going to show you the process of how I break down my videos, my vlogs specifically, into like different sections or scenes, and then I'll go through the process of how I actually do the editing of one of those scenes. I'm not going to go through the entire video. I'll just go through one of the scenes, because I know one of the questions that got asked was that gets asked is, how do I synchronize the different tracks and how do I line them all up and all that. So I'm going to go over this process with you on what program I use for all that, and how to actually use the interface on there too. All right, so let's start off with getting the other SD card file. These are the SD cards that came out of my exterior cameras. One's the front and one's the sides. I actually have them color coded, by the way. I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, it shows. Okay, so you see there's one that's green and black and another one that's tan and black. Okay, so that helps me out with also knowing which SD card has which camera's data on it. I like to use the tan and black one specifically for the V-Systo, my rear side camera views. And whatever other color, doesn't matter. I have like a green and white here, or I have also a silver and red one that is also for the front camera. Doesn't matter, but I try to keep a consistency at least on one of the cameras. That way, if I see that color, I know that it's that particular camera's data on it. And now the the V-Systo with the side cameras, it's going to use the most data. So what I usually do is I'll just leave the SD card for that came out of the V-Systo in the tablet. I'll temporarily move everything else that I'm working with to the hard drive, and then once I'm done moving everything over to the hard drive that I need from the front and interior cameras as well as my phone, then I'll put the V-Systo's card in and I'll move everything from the hard drive back over to the V-Systo's SD card. Then I'll organize everything there and put everything in the folders that belong. So we're gonna start with that. All right, we're gonna do the front camera. I am actually still waiting for that video that I was just talking about to finish uploading. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to need I'm gonna need the SD card that it's uploading off of, because that's where my front and side cameras are at. But we'll at least get you started on this, go through that process. All right, guys, it's going to go through the process here. I'm using Windows 10 on this tablet. The other one has Windows 11. This one, importantly, knows what we're working with. I'm going to first show you where my temporary folder is. It'll be over here in the desktop. I'll just expand the desktop, and right here where it says new folder. Alright, I already have the folders set up. I've already moved the files that were in it out of the way because I needed the space for other activities. So they're temporarily on the other SD card that's currently in use by my other tablet. So we'll get to that. For now, we're going to go ahead and just go to this PC. And this is the front camera's SD card. You see here, it's 364 megabytes free out of 58 gigs. So it runs on a loop. Alright, so front camera. This is this card V folder that I need. That would be the Eagle Eye 4's folder that it uses. And then right here, movie, come into here, and now here's my entire list of video files. So we're gonna have to figure out where the video starts, that where the footage is that it starts where I need it. I don't think it's gonna start until later because I didn't start driving until shortly after midnight Central Time, which would be 2200 Pacific Time. These date timestamps here, as you see, are all dated. The year, the month, and date, and then there's the time right there. Well, the time is for Pacific Time because that's how I have the camera set up, because I live in the Pacific Time zone. So I know the first file I'm going to need is going to be somewhere in the 2200. Actually, a little later than 2200 range, probably 2220ish, somewhere in that neck of the woods. So I don't need any of these files. I'm just going to go ahead and delete them. Same thing here. We're up at 2029 there. I'm going to delete those too. I just don't have a need for them. Alright, somewhere over in this neck of the woods, we're going to start finding the footage look like it's moving. Yeah, right here it's moved at the 2223 mark. So either this file or that file is probably going to be my first file that I need. That'll be the departure, the en route. The first section is going to be longer because I believe it was 66 files that I used on the interior camera, which is 66 minutes. Now a lot of that's going to be high-speed stuff, so the video's not going to be that long, but yeah, because there'll be a good chunk of it I'm going to accelerate to 15 times or something. So in that case, I don't know, I might need to work with this one. We'll just go ahead and come on into here first. So right there is where I start talking. So this is definitely the first file I want. Up to the left or whatever of it, I don't need. Alright, so we're going to delete that. Now I know that I had about 66 files. Alright, every row is 10 files, and every file is 3 minutes. So here's 60 right here. So it's probably going to be right in this, either this one or maybe the next one after that will be what I'm looking for. I really don't care. I don't need the audio stuff. I just need to know where the video stops. Okay, I'm just about to the stop sign there. So the next video is almost certainly going to be where I want to save from. Okay, I'm going to watch my hood mirror here for door opening and closing activity. It should be all I need here for this. But I also want to be wary of if I'm going to end up getting back in while this video, I don't think I will, because I believe I was in that office for 5 minutes. So yeah, we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and shift click that. I'm going to use my handy dandy move to tool there and select folder. Come on. Alright, you're going to do that to me. Alright, we're going to come over here to desktop. New folder. That's going to be the arrives data. So all I'm doing is putting all the stuff that's on that first section of that video in that same folder. It's going to end up organized into the same folder as my interior camera, rear camera, and map view stuff. Alright guys, so we're all done transferring. Did forget to do one thing, and that was look up how many how much file space was needed there for those files. I'm gonna go into properties here. Alright, so just under 5 gigabytes is what got moved, and so that's a pretty fair amount. Normally I don't need that much space, and that's just for the front camera only. It doesn't even include the rears yet, or any other cameras. So, but I'm gonna run low on space here, but most of what's left here on the video that I'm working with, there's not much, there's not a hell of a lot more to work with here. So, I'll show you what I do because of the space I have here. It's gonna be a little bit more of a process than might normally be the case. Okay, see, I can see myself in the hood mirror getting in the truck here, so I know I'm going to use this file here. This is going to be the dock-in scene here. Again, I don't care what the audio is. I just want to know, let's see. I forgot how many files there were, or how many minutes of front camera video. Because I basically docked in, and then I bobtailed over to the bullpen over here, and then... Alright, so this might be it. Let's...
Checked in right over here to the left, and hopefully it won't be too long, but I don't even really care. The longer you stay here, the more detention I get. And I got time to work with, and we'll talk about that on the way out of here too. Right.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure I finished talking before the end of that particular video. So I'm gonna go ahead and move these 4 over to my dock-in folder there. Just under a gigabyte, and look how much, it only takes about 15 seconds is what it's expected to take. Now I talked in the other video about how Bluetooth and Wi-Fi are not nearly as fast. Okay, so next I have the return back to my trailer video. Now see, I'm looking at all these thumbnails, and I see a lot of the same stuff going on there. I know I was there for about 2-ish hours. So again, that's 30, 60, 90, 120. Alright, looks like I've moved over there, so this might be it right here. Okay, if this is it, you're going to see me come out the building right over here. Or maybe I'm already at the truck. Nope, that's not me. All right, I'm already in the truck. Okay, this is probably what I need. Okay, now I need to know, is this the only file? I'm going to need one more file, I believe, for that one. Get rid of all the others, because I don't need anything else there. Alright, yeah, return to trailer. I believe it's just going to be these 2 files here that I'm going to need, and that's it.
Make some stupid comment about it.
Come on. There, but it's because I'm just pulling away from the door and checking for roadblocks and all that. So return the trailer, that's all I'm going to need for that folder there. And check out, that'll be the last one, and it's probably going to be starting with this one. Come on. Yeah, I definitely need this. Now, I don't think I needed, I think I'm only going to need about 4 of these or so. Pretty sure, yeah, I didn't go too far off the property before I had already was done talking and done with the video. Let's go with this one.
I don't know. It intended to get like that. 45. So I think it was second. Yeah.
Okay, so probably going to need one more. Beyond that, I'm not sure if there's anything else.
Pretty plain picking up and back to so just 10 and well, they get fewer right next to
Okay, maybe one more then. So a little bit more to this this ending than I thought was the case. Alright, yeah, I just heard that was definitely the end of the video right there. Or the end of what I need. Okay, so we'll move this over to checkout. And I'm running short on space on this tablet here. I do need to, there's a lot of video files and stuff I just need to get moved off of here and maybe onto my clips channel, or do you know, like kind of vlogs on them or whatever the case might be. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and delete everything else because I don't have a need for anything else in here. So go ahead and delete all that. Now let's check how much space we have left to work with. We have 4.79 gigs. I'm gonna go ahead and eject that file there, or that SD card. And we'll put the rear camera's SD card in there. Alright, so next step in here, I need to know what timestamps I'm looking for on this. 2220 to 2326. So that's going to be over an hour. That's a lot of footage. So, alright, so I'll come in here on the DCIM folder, and then you got the F and R folders. This is the front and rear. So my left side camera is going to be over here, and the rear will be on the right. I mean, the right one will be on the R folder. All right, so everything up to 2220-ish, I don't need. I might need that 2018, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete everything up to 2218. Now we'll go ahead and pull this video up and double check if we need it or not. We may or may not need it. I don't know. It depends on how far into the past 2020 I started talking. Okay, it does not appear that I will need that. Let's double check it. I want to be sure. But it appears that I only need the 2221 folder file. Alright, yeah, that's definitely it. So 2221. Don't need the 2218. And then what was it, 2236? Or 2336. My bad. Okay, so 2336, there's one right there, and it lines up. Highly likely that that's going to cover everything. So now see, that's over 6 gigs of data right there. So what I'm going to end up doing instead will be I'm going to keep all this data here on this folder. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I usually tend to leave the vSysto files where they're at. And what we're going to do instead is, I believe I already have them organized on the other SD card anyway. I'm going to go ahead and just move all of these. Secure data, DCIM, and then put them all right there in the F folder. Alright, so about 7.3 gigs of data, and it's expecting to take about 2 minutes. We'll go ahead and time lapse it for you here to make it quicker. Alright guys, we're all done transferring that video footage over now. That took a little longer than normal, I think, because I'm also recording right now this footage here that you're watching now. And that's taking up CPU cycles as well. So that's yeah, it took a little longer than I expected, or as than it normally would, but yeah, it still wasn't too bad, I would say. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and move all these files that we already reviewed, 2221 to the 2336 timestamps. We're just going to move them right over here to the Arrive folder. And next we'll go to the R folder and do the same thing. We're going to delete everything that is earlier than what we're interested in. And 2336. Actually, let me expand that. That way I can just drag straight across. Alright, so now dock in, we're going to need 2329 through 2338. Or is that? Oh, I think I meant 39. 2329. What? Did I? Okay. I overshot. 2326. Alright, so right there is probably the last. So let's double check this, because there's going to be some overlap, and I got to double check if this is going to contain both. Nope, I'm coming back to the truck right there. So this will be where it starts there. 2330 through 2330. Oh, actually, yeah, 2330 through 2339 basically is what we want. Oh, that's right. I got both rears there. I was like, why do I have so many files there? Okay, so I want to just move these back over to the dock-in folder, and then we'll add in the 39 to the dock-in folder as well. Return to trailer, 205 and 208 is what I'm looking for now. Alright, so we got both those are matched up. I probably won't need to worry about that. I'm just going to go ahead and work straight with those. Now, there could be anywhere within a minute on either side of offset. So, but I try to keep them as close to the same as I can, so I minimize that risk. So, 205 to 208. And finally, check out 211 to 226. So these files here we will need. Everything else here we don't. So we're going to delete all those permanently, and double check it again. 211 to 226. Okay, at this point, at this point, I'm going to need to temporarily pull this SD card out and put the other one that is just about done, well, on the other tablet, back into here, so we can transfer those files that have already were temporarily pulled back over from that card to this tablet. And then once it's on this tablet, then I'm going to put this SD card back in and move all those same files to those same folders that we just moved into here. So I'm going to need checked. And we'll continue on with the next SD card in just a second. Alright guys, we got all the files we need moved over now to expedite the video a little bit. I went ahead and already transferred all the other files over where I needed them to be in the same folders you just saw. This is me doing this recording now, what you see going on here. I'm going to go ahead and work the project here, though. I'm going to hit import. I mean, this is Wondershare Filmora, by the way. Version 12.3.7, I believe, is what I'm working with now. So what I do is import a folder. Come over here to secure device, the D drive, whatever, over to the DCIM, F. Okay, so a couple of things going on here. That this is a lot of footage here. I'm not really wanting to work with this one, but the acceleration part is something that, you know, because when it's a little complicated like this, I'm a little bit more inclined to go ahead and do that just so you can see, but it's going to make the video a little bit longer. The simple way to do this would be, maybe I'll just do I don't know, just the return to trailer part. That should be on the simple side there. So we'll go ahead and work with that one first. Okay, we have a separate folder right there that it's in, and all the source files are here. We'll get a second to populate, and then we're going to start putting all these onto the timeline. I'll show you how that works. Have the video timeline right here, and then there's an audio timeline right there. Now, I'm going to start with just the front camera videos first. There are 2 of them to work with here. So we'll just go ahead and grab both of those and drag them down here on the timeline. You can either match the media, which is 30 frames per second, or keep the project at basically at yeah, 30 frames per second 1080p. Double check these are in the correct order. Alright, so next, first thing to do, I do the next files, and I'm going to create 2 new tracks. And it's real easy to do with Filmora. All I have to do is, I'm going to take this file first. These are the 2, the first files that are going to match up with these most likely, and then the next 2 files will line up with that one most likely. So I'm going to just grab that and drag it until it's all the way over to the 0 timeline there. And that's all I'm really concerned about right now. And the next step is I'm going to synchronize these files. It looks like it's not going to take much, even if I do it visually, but I'm going to show you this handy little feature with Filmora with Wondershare Filmora. Okay, I'm going to, first I detach the audio. Now I just use the Control-Alt-D keyboard shortcut there to separate the audio from the video. But alternatively, you can just select the video file that you want, and then right click, and you'll see detach audio there. Or you can also come up here to tools, audio, and then detach audio. Those are all your options there. I really like to work with keyboard shortcuts because it really makes quick work of a lot of the stuff I need to do. And as tedious as this work can be, any kind of shortcut that'll speed up the process makes a huge difference. All right, so next, I need to synchronize. I need to tell Filmora which files I want to synchronize with each other, because it won't synchronize video file with the video file. I need to separate the audio on one of those files from the video portion. So I'm going to go ahead and control click both of those, the left camera and the front camera basically is what we're doing there. I'm going to right click and auto-synchronize right there. And you're going to see how pretty fast this works too. Only, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds or so, and it'll be done. And then once it's done, it's going to automatically, if it works correctly, which I'm pretty sure it will here, it's going to automatically move this audio track over to where it needs to be to line up properly with that with the side camera. All right, see, yeah, it moved it. Now I'm going to go ahead and, because this is what moved, I'm going to line the video file up with the audio file that belongs to, and everything else that is not related to that. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in just a bit, line up, and make sure we're actually lined up on the exact same frame. I'm going to zoom all the way in right here using that slider bar. Looks good there. All right, so I'm going to hit that to fit to fit to window, or fit to the timeline. Next, I'm going to select that video file there, and I'm going to detach that audio too. And then after this, I'm going to use the page down key, the down arrow. The down arrow key on my keyboard here, and put it right there at the end of this. Now, sometimes these side camera files are not exactly the same length. Sometimes there's a little bit of overlay there, so I'm going to zoom in. I can tell that they're exactly identical in this case because I see the front camera view here in the preview window. If I see one of the side camera views in the preview window, then I know that particular side camera's view is longer than the other side camera's view. But just to make sure I'm lining these up properly where I want them, I'm going to go ahead and zoom all the way in and do the same exact process here. Now we'll zoom back out to fit the timeline, and we're going to do the same process here, auto-synchronize those two there. Now, I know I'm going to be going a little on the fast side here, so just go right back through the video if you need be, or play it in slower motion, or whatever it needs to be the case. And if that helps you out here, if you want to get into this kind of video editing process. Okay, see how this one jumped down? So what it did is it means that it moved over probably a frame or two here, based on my experience. Now, I want to line these up. I don't want to cut stuff out of the way yet, because I used to just cut a couple of these, like whatever frames were not needed there, but I cut the other way now, or I wait till everything's already lined up and synchronized where it needs to be first. I'm going to go ahead, I highlighted all three here, the audio track and the two side camera views there that you see. Leave everything else alone. I'm going to zoom all the way in, and now see that it looks like it's about two frames. Now I can go ahead and hit the down arrow and demonstrate. I know from looking at this that it's 2 frames though. So right where it's at now, I'm going to look right here. I'm at 308 and 2 frames. I'm going to hit the down arrow key. It's going to go to 308 and 4 frames when it lines up right there. And see, as you see right there. So it's, right at 2 frames off. I'm going to end up cutting out those 2 frames later on, but not yet. I'm going to go ahead and slide everything over so this lines back up with the other audio track, and then I'll go ahead and bring that audio track back up to the first audio track. Alright, we're going to zoom back out now. Next, I'm going to go ahead, I don't need the audio on these. I'm going to go ahead and mute them. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight all those, and there's another keyboard shortcut here. That would be Control-Shift-M. Alternatively, again, you can always use the right arrow, the right mouse button here if you're on a computer. Hit the mute button there, or again, audio tool, audio mute. Okay, those are your options there. Now, I want to change the properties of these side camera views so that we can get all the camera views in there. I'm going to start with this one here. This will be the right side camera. We're already there anyway. I'm going to just double click it, and it brings up the properties. Again, there are other ways you can do that. You can either right click, come all the way, I think it's edit properties, because that keyboard shortcut there, Alt and E, is what will bring up that same window that you just saw a second ago. Or come to tools, edit properties right there. Alright, so keyboard shortcut my way through a lot of this stuff. Alright, from here, I know from experience what dimensions I want these at and what exact X and Y coordinates I want them at as well. I'm going to go ahead and know, just to demonstrate, go to 30% right there and then just tab it. Alright, so there it is there. If you're not really sure, now I don't like to use the mouse more than I need to because it takes a lot of time, but I know some of you guys have a real fetish for using the mouse for some reason. If you do, just go ahead and come up here. Now again, this is going to eat more time from you if you're doing it this way though, but it is an option for you if you prefer to do it that way. Now you see it's at the 671.72 position on the X axis, which is just like if you're in a math class. X would be left and right, and then Y would be up and down. So we're this is positive, positive. This is negative, positive, negative, negative, and then positive, negative. If it's just like if you were in algebra or trigonometry or whatever kind of class. All right, so now we're going to select this video here. Now we're looking at this file that you see right there. Now when they did an update to Filmora, it doesn't automatically select everything like it used to on that. Yeah, it used to automatically by default select all when I would do that. So what I do now is I'll either go to the next one down, and then I'll either hit Shift Tab, and now it takes me up to where the X coordinate is, or I'll go ahead and just leave it there anyway, and then I'll just hit Control A to select all, and then type in my 30 there. Now I'm going to tab here though. I'm going to hit 30 and then 1, 2. So I hit tab twice. Sometimes I have to hit it 3 times. Now I want a specific X and Y coordinate here. I'm going to want minus 671 there, and it's going to, watch over here, it's going to snap that over to the left side. Then I'm going to go 378. That's where I usually like it. So I'm going to come back over here and make these a little bit more precise as well. That's really just that. That's that one little minor change. All right, now I'm going to double click this one here and do the same thing. 30, 671, and 378. See how quickly I can move these files exactly where I want them? It's a hell of a lot faster than a mouse. Oops. I don't know how I did that. Okay, you don't see the front camera view because it's not into play yet there, but we'll get there. I'm going to go and leave it where it's at now until we figure out where we need these interior camera files. Now, whether or not I have a map view in there, which I don't in this case, but even if I did, normally the map view would be the last track I add. Here I would go ahead and add this. Usually I'll move it all the way over to the far left again. And now I'm going to control select the audio track that it's probably going to line up with, or I want to compare it against at the very least. Okay, now it's already snapped to right where I need it to be. All right, I'm going to have another video interior camera track that I'm going to want to compare to that one. So I'm not done with this audio track yet, but when I am done with it, I actually delete it. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab that, drag it into the timeline right next to that one, and we're going to do an auto-synchronize again. Because a lot of times there's a gap here that gets created, like a one or two frame gap, usually one. Not always the case, but a lot of times there's one. See that thing, I just saw that thing glitch there. That means it moved a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and zoom all the way in. And yeah, it moved one frame. So we're going to come back over, move it back over. And what it is it separated that from that one by one frame as well. At this point, the next comparison I'm going to make is with that audio track. It also means I no longer need this audio piece here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the delete key. Again, you can use your mouse to do all these same functions, but you do yourself a big favor by using the keyboard shortcuts as much as you can here. All right, next I'm going to go ahead and use this last interior camera view here. Same thing, auto-synchronize that. Okay, so that's and that just moved again also, so I know that I'm going to zoom into here. Now this shows that it's off by more. That's a little suspicious to me. Either let's double check. I'm watching this to see if it stops in all the right spots and it doesn't go past. Yeah, we're good there. So, let me zoom in over here. Okay, yeah, that's correct. Okay, and then I was talking about how sometimes the side camera files are off by a little bit. That's at 15 frames and that's 13, so this one is 2 frames longer than the other. Alright, so again, that one looks a little suspicious, so now I'm going to zoom in, because that many, if I move that much, I'm apt to believe it's by mistake. So I'm going to go ahead and move it back where it was. Actually, I'm just going to select this one only. It shouldn't have moved more than 1, maybe 2 frames at most. So I'm going to go ahead and here, we'll start with this one. And that way when I hit the zoom buttons, it'll zoom in right where this is at instead of somewhere I don't care about. I'm trying to compare these audio signatures here. To me, it looks like they're okay there, but now I can always double check. Okay, that sounds like it lines up perfectly, so I don't know why they often, but that appears to be a mistake there where they mistakenly believed it lined up in a different spot, but didn't belong there. It actually looks like it lines up perfectly already where it's at. So we're going to leave it alone where it is now. I'm going to go and hit the delete key on that. And that's all we have to work with now on this file, on this project. So next, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. I can see the audio starts somewhere around here, around the 2-minute mark on the timeline. So everything left of it, I'm probably not going to care about. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. I'm going to right click and drag so I can... Alright, now I'm going to use shift and right. Or I can do that, or I can just go ahead and drag this thing with the mouse over here. Alright, we'll start maybe around here. We'll find the spot. Alright, yeah, I'm right. Okay, right after I hear myself starting to talk, I'm going to hit shift left and come back maybe a second or so. Alright, I'm going to hit, just click right where I'm at there so I can unselect anything that might have been selected. Now I'm going to hit Control B as in Bravo. What that does, it's going to splice everything right where that where the timeline thing is there. Alternatively, I can always hit that, right click, and then you're going to see the Control B, well, they call it split. Alright, so, but usually I just go right here, Control B, and then split it with just Control B without anything selected, and it'll slice everything wherever the timeline thing here is at. So everything over here to the left, I no longer need. It's garbage. So I'm going to hit select all of that and hit delete. Alright, now if I want to change, have a more narrow area here to work with, I can go ahead and come on over to the end there. And because obviously I'm not going to need that because I know everything I need is also on that interior camera file somewhere. Alright, so we'll come back over. And go ahead and, before I do, I'm going to hit, so it's easier on the computer. Yeah, and on the project, I'm going to change this from full quality, which is basically 1080, to 1/4, which is basically standard def. And then I'm also going to save my project. I usually use this VE Project 1 there. Alright, that way if the program crashes, I can still work with it.
Guys, we are done unloading.
We'll start moving here on the... Alright, right about there where I start moving, I'm going to go ahead and splice again. Okay, now I'm going to double click this interior file here and change that where I want it right in the center where it already is, but I just want it up at the same Y coordinate as the other two. So 378 it goes. And we'll go ahead and do them all three just for now. There's a possibility I won't want them all like that, especially when I'm backing up toward the trailer. You're going to see how that process goes as well. That will be a kind of an essential thing now, because if I need to reorganize these, because this, whatever's at the bottom here always goes in the back, and everything as you go further up and track numbers goes in front of the other if you were to cascade them all.
Just after 4 a.m. actually I got called.
Okay, the other thing here, you see this red line right here? This red line indicates that it hasn't been rendered. So if I wanted to take the extra time to do that, I could always file, I think it is, render preview. But I don't tend to do that. Yeah, it will help, but it does take up more disk space, and it does take time to do that. But when you are ready to actually start previewing along the timeline, it does help with not having glitches there and stuff, or having it run slowly on you. Okay, at this point, I don't really even care what I'm saying. I'm more interested in where and when am I going to change the camera angles and stuff. So, at this point, I'm just going to go and hit shift and right, and we're going to watch the preview screen there. And when I get to a point where I think I'm going to basically change gears to go into reverse, that's when I will stop the video. Actually, I'm going to play it when I'm go ahead and see if we're now in the serpentine. All right, right there. So right around there, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in just a tad more. Hit Control B and make a new splice right there. At this point, this is where we're going to change our camera angles. I think we can. We're not going to be able to make good use of the right side camera there because it's dark, and this is that foggy thing I was talking about in that other video with the V-Sisto cameras, the night vision infrared light that it has on it. It does that and it makes it difficult to see, whereas the left side one looks absolutely beautiful. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead now. First thing I do, because of the way I have the cameras mounted and how things are going, I want them to line up with the side of the truck. Now I'll go ahead and do this one first. That's going to be the driver's side view, just so you can get an idea of what we're looking at here. I'm going to come down here first and then flip it. Use this flip horizontal button here. You can also flip vertically or the other way around, whatever, yeah. Or mirror. So, alright, right there, I usually just put it in that position there, and I'm going to hit flip. You can also drag this, drag these pane dimensions where you want them to. Okay, I'm going to change this to 100% because I want this to be the primary view now. I'm going to change this back to 0 and 0. Now, next, when we come over here to the interior camera view, let's say if I leave it at 30%, I'm going to show you what happens. Now, I'm going to use the same X and Y coordinates. It's just a matter of whether they're positive or negative, and that's all that differs here, and that I'm working with. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do mine because I want it on the left side and covering up the side of my tractor. You can see my trailer right there. But you're going to see when I do this minus 671, and it's already at the Y coordinate position I want it at. See, it extends past the side of the tractor. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do, make it a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to come back over here. Now, because of my experience with this, I already know exactly which X and Y coordinates I want to use. Minus 700 and plus 394. Now that looks like it's closer to line up. It might not be perfect, but it's at least close. Now we're going to select the right side camera. We'll flip it the same way we did the other one. We'll also change that to 27%. We're going to also put that at minus 700 on the X coordinate, but we're going to go minus 394 on the Y coordinate. And as you see there, it puts it down at the very bottom. And the front camera, which is at 100% view, we're going to end up putting over here in the center left. So we're going to go 27 and minus 700. We'll leave the Y coordinate alone. Alright, I'm probably going to need to change this one here as well, but we'll double check. I'm going to go ahead and save my project there.
Happens. So what this guy do, he's makes it.
Okay, yeah. So we'll go ahead and change that now before I forget to do it.
Some stupid call.
Alright, so now from here, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here so it shows the whole view. We don't really need to see anything else or listen to much else there. And I know that I'm not going to change my because I do sometimes, as you see, go back and forth between the left and right side camera view in some of these backings, but in this one I don't anticipate needing to do that.
Stupid. Can you be? You don't know who the hell is actually doing it.
As you saw there, that file came in. That's all right. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the up arrow, or actually play once real quick, and then all right, I'll come back here. That looks like a good spot, and you already heard me hook into the trailer right there, so I'm gonna hit splice right there. Now everything's spliced there. All right, now we're gonna reorganize these so that the the 100% view file is down here at the bottom. So we're going to temporarily move it up out of the way to a new track. And we're going to move these up to where the other one was and then bring this one back down. So now, when we come up here, see, everything looks right. Okay, I'm going to zoom in here, double check. I believe, all right, we'll go ahead and do 100% back on here, because I believe we have everything we're interested in there. Go ahead and zoom back out and save it again, just in case we have a crash. Okay, it's backing up a little bit more than, okay. The space bar to start and stop the playback on the timeline, by the way, if you're not sure about that. Again, you can just mouse over this and see it says play space, pause space. Alright, so I'm going to come back because I affected where I wanted it. Alright, that should be good enough there. Alright, everything is unselected here. I'm going to hit Control B again to splice. I don't have to do anything else. Just sit there and hit the delete key and I'll get rid of everything that you see selected already right there. Alright, now we can change our zoom there. This file is ready to go now. So we're almost ready. I got one other little detail I'm going to do before I start compiling that. I'm going to zoom all the way in. Remember we had those synchronizing issues where the gaps were? I'm going to get rid of those gaps now. But zoom all the way in. Now I'm going to use just nothing but keyboard here for the rest of the way here. I'm going to hit the up arrow keys until I find one of those gaps. Alright, there's a gap right there. So I'm going to hit down arrow to come back to that one, hit Control B, and then up arrow to come back to that other spot, hit Control B again. Now it highlighted the gapped area that I want to get rid of. I'm going to hit delete and repeat process. Every time, see there's a gap right there. Down, Control B, up, Control B, delete. And we're good. That's it. Alright, I'm going to hit save again, and now we're going to compile this. And you'll see how quickly it compiles. Now, this app here is a lot faster than the other video editors I've tried working with. So, and it is way easier to work with. It has a lot of really nice bells and whistles on this program. I really love this app. I highly recommend it. It is buggy at times, though. There's that problem there. So we're just going to go ahead and what was that? 3 return to trailer, just so I know what it is. It's going to go into the I normally I'm starting to put it over here in that, but we can always put it in the default Wondershare documents, Wondershare Filmora, output folder, and then I have this project thing right there that I've been putting them in. But I've actually also been starting to put them in on the SD card that's currently in the other tablet. So I'll go ahead and select folder where it was already at. Preset, match the project settings. You can always set settings there as well. See, it's going to record in 1080p, 30 frames per second, using the H.264 encoder. I think it's Matroska, if I remember right. It's been a long time since I've, because I got into Matroska stuff back in like the MP3 making days. All right, variable bit rate. I mean, for the audio, and that basically means that the audio adjusts itself how high quality or low quality based on what's required in that particular spot. All right, for 1080p, they usually recommend 8,000 or 6,000 bit rate. I use 8,000 because I want better quality. Compression quality, none. Exact audio copy encoder, or actually AAC, I think that's the Apple encoder or something like that. All right, stereo channel, sample rate 44.1 kilohertz. That's a very normal audio encoding. And then if you want better audio quality though, see, I encoded at 192, but I could always go higher. Like 320 is what you call lossless or near lossless. That would require a little bit larger file size. Let me double check what it would do. 106.1 megabytes right now. Let's what happens if I were to change that to 320? Just curious. Okay, see, it's not very much bigger, but there are times when I have longer videos that are up around an hour long that start pushing a limit on what the file format system on this tablet can handle. On Windows, the NTFS can only handle up to 4 gig files. So I think it was NTFS. And I don't want the file, the finished product, at the end, because I have all these other scenes I'm going to do, and I got to consider this is this is going to be a decent chance that this might end up being roughly close to an hour-long video once I'm all done. I'm going to do the same process you just saw me doing with all the other tracks and all the other scenes. And then once I have all the scenes compiled into their own individual files, then I'll go ahead and start a new project, and where it's just completed compiled scenes, and I'll organize them how I want them, and then usually that's the point where I adjust the speed on them as well. I'm going to hit export now, and here we go. So yeah, now I can adjust I can run higher. Yeah, I can accelerate parts of the video right here in the timeline if I want to as well on these multi-part clips like this where I have 4 tracks. But the problem is it's more with you. You run into problems where it doesn't want to snap the right speed, or doesn't, might not quite line up just right. Alright, so that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys got some good education out of this one. I do have another program I've worked with, or I've tried working with, AVS for You. I think, I think that's what I remember it being called. I have it, I do have it as a backup plan, but it's definitely more cumbersome to work with than Wondershare, Filmora. So yeah, this makes way quicker work of it. It's just Wondershare, Filmora is sometimes on the buggy side. It'll have crashes and stuff. I've actually been trying to get it to work on my new tablet, and it's hard. I hardly ever have any luck getting it to work, but such is life. But otherwise, yeah, it's a fantastic program when it's not crashing on me or whatever, and I got to get that sorted out. All right, so hope you guys enjoyed, and all right, we'll have some. So we'll have some this video that you just saw. The footage that you saw getting edited in here, or at least part of it. That'll be part of my upcoming video, delivery video to Moberly, Missouri. All right, y'all have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.